Hi everybody, welcome back to PM Homestead. Today I'm going to share me processing, pressure canning beef cubes. I'm very lucky that my butcher is good at cutting into cube pieces. There was just a few I had to cut smaller. There's approximately 4 pounds of cube beef here, and this is from the half of beef that I got right before Christmas. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I go about doing this. I'm using wide mouth pint jars because there's only 2 of us here in the household. I do recommend using wide mouth whether you use pints or quarts because it's easier to get the meat out of. And you just put in your beef cubes. You do not have to add water when you process beef because it will make its own juices. I usually do 3/4 of a jar. Hang on one second, I forgot something. Forgot to grab. And you want to, make sure there's no big air pockets in your jars. Put a couple more pieces in here. Press that down. And then I'm adding, just because I want to use this up, a little bit of beef bouillon. I don't know, approximately a teaspoon in each jar. Now this is cold meat going into cold jars. Then we'll be going into the cold pressure canner. Just finger tight. Put in my pressure canner. Pack another jar. I'm not sure how many jars I'll get here, but I wanted to get this done today. But make sure you have no big air bubbles again. A few more pieces. Like I said, I do mine usually about 3/4 of the way full with the beef. About a teaspoon of beef bouillon. And bouillon isn't necessary. I'm just using it because I want to get this jar used up out of my refrigerator. You can add seasonings or you can process it plain. Finger tight the lid into the canner. I do have my jars soaking in water after I washed them. So if you hear water in the background, that's what that is. Oh my, I forgot a major step. Hang on here, folks. I'm glad I caught it before I got too far. I forgot to wipe the rims of my jars with vinegar. I'm going to check the flats real quick, make sure there's nothing on them. I'm glad I caught that. But yeah, with any kind of meat or greasy items, you definitely want to wipe the rims. This, to make sure they're good and clean. This also gives you a chance to inspect the jar again one more time for chips and cracks. Like I said, I'm so glad I caught myself missing that important step. Like I said, this is, make sure there's no grease or anything that can keep the jar from sealing. Okay, now on to the third jar. Again, like I said, it's an important step, and I'm glad I caught it before I went too far along. And that just proves that, even experienced canners do sometimes make mistakes. So, like I've said many a times, nobody's perfect. We learn by our mistakes, and don't feel ashamed if you make them because everybody does. I'm going to say that's pretty full. Let me check for air pockets again. Yeah, that feels good. A little bit of beef bouillon. Ring. Almost did it again. Must be too early in the morning here. It is only 8 o'clock in the morning. So maybe that's why my brain isn't fully functioning. There we go. That's 3 pints. Looks like maybe I'll get 6 pints. I've heard, and I don't know how accurate this is, that you can get a pound of meat in a pint jar. I've never really, actually measured, but that's what I've heard, that a pound of beef will fit in a pint jar. So I roughly use that as a guideline. It's not something that I, definitely follow, but I do use it as a guideline when I'm getting meat out to can. Because this was in my freezer. I got it out yesterday afternoon to thaw in the refrigerator. Then this morning I'm starting the process. Let's see here. I'm thinking I'll get, 6 pints. And if there's any left over, I'll just, that won't fit in a jar, I'll put it back in my refrigerator and we'll probably cook that up for supper. The air pocket. Like I said, you don't have to add water or anything to this because beef will make its own juices. That's the reason I only fill my jar just around 3/4 full. And it doesn't look like I'm going to use up all that beef bouillon in either. I'll put it back in the refrigerator for another project. I know since Easter's come and went, I've been trying to clean out things in my refrigerator. Jars, half-filled jars of certain items, trying to get them used up, and I run across this beef bouillon, so. Maybe I'm going to get 7 pints. I believe actually I'm going to get 7. Get my other jar that I did wash up just in case out. And my pressure canner will take 7 pints. They will fit in there, so. Oh yeah. There we go. This out of the way. Wipe the rims. Beef bouillon. Beef bouillon. What? Finger tight. Okay. Let's see if I can slide my camera over to show you what they look like inside the pressure canner. Excuse, hope I don't make it seasick. Okay. There's the inside of my pressure canner. Like I said, I got 7 pints, wide mouth pints in here. Like I said, it's cold meat, cold jars, cold canner. Any kind of canning you do, you want all your temperatures to be the same. Never put cold jars in a hot canner. You know, that's a good way to get broken jars that won't seal, etc. So always try to remember that your contents, your jars, and your canner all need to be the same temperature when you start. I'll put my lid on. There we go. I do have the Presto canner. Slide the lid into lock position. Okay. Turn the temperature on. There we go. Now, for cubed beef, the processing time, I believe, is 75 minutes. I'll check that and I'll give you definite time here at the end of the video. But I wait for this to vent, steam vent, for 10 minutes before I apply my weight. Once the weight is on, I watch the pressure gauge, my altitude, my area. I go to 10 pounds of pressure. And then I just keep a close eye on it. And if I have to adjust the temperature or the flameage on my gas stove, I just keep a close eye on it while it's processing. Like I said, this here has to vent steam for 10 minutes straight, steady stream, and then I put the weight on. So I'll bring you back for the next step and also the definite processing time. Okay, my 10 minutes of venting is just about up. And I did want to let you know that it is 75 minutes on processing time for the cubed beef. I double checked my book, so I just wanted to update you on that. Like I said, as soon as it reaches the timer will go off here on my stove. And once I put the weight on, I'll wait for my gauge to reach 10 pounds of pressure, and that's when I start the 75-minute timer. I know it's hard to see the steam coming out of the vent, but it is there. There, maybe you can see it a little bit better. Okay, my timer is just about up. Okay. Like I said, I do have the Presto canner. I actually have two of these. I inherited my mom's canner. She had the same one. So when I have big projects, I use both of them at the same time to speed up the process. And again, it is 75 minutes once the pressure gauge reaches 10 pounds, and that's for my altitude. You have to check your altitude, your guidelines. Just got a few more seconds here to go. My timer is about ready to go off. Like I said, I just want to share this part of the process with you. There's my timer, if you can hear that in the background. Put my weight on. This little valve here will pop up. And then that's when I start watching gauge. And watch for it to get to 10 pounds. Whoops, sorry about that. There they are, 7-pint jars of canned beef. I don't know if you just heard that one pop or not. They just come out of the canner. You can see they're still bubbling. Like I said, I added no water to my beef because I knew it would make its own broth. And as you can see, it has. Now these jars may not be completely full, but that is fine as long as they seal. I processed them for 75 minutes. And that is my canned beef cubes. I can make stew. I can heat a jar up, put it over noodles, make a little gravy over mashed potatoes. There's so many different things you can do with it after it's already cooked. It's such a quick way to prepare a meal. I like to keep it on hand. It's one less thing you have to worry about being in the freezer if your power goes out. It's already shelf stable. So if you like videos like this, enjoy homesteading videos, please like and subscribe and check out some of my other videos. I do all kinds of homestead related items: gardening, canning, preserving, dehydrating, cooking, all sorts of videos. Please check it out, and I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me today as I made my canned beef. Alright, have a good day now, folks. Bye-bye.